Hello everyone, today I'm here to do a tag video. You guys know I love my tag videos. Today's tag is going to be a little bit controversial because it's talking about books that I don't necessarily really enjoy. I don't like really talking about books I don't like. It's not one of my favorite things to do. I don't want to sit here. Here's a book I really don't like. Let's talk about it. I really enjoy talking about books that I love and like because, you know, I like to recommend them and they make me happy and they make me so glad I read them. And I don't like to focus on the books that I'm not really a big fan of, but nevertheless, there's still more to talk about because not every book you read is going to be amazing. There are going to be some so-so books, and that is how the world works, and that is okay. Today is the Totally Didn't book tag, and I like the name of that tag. And it was created by Read Like Wildfire. I will link her original video down below. I think it's a really cool idea. You know, there aren't so many tags that are out there that talks about books you don't like, but there need to be because sometimes we just gotta vet. Gotta do it. Let's get on to that questions. The first question is totally didn't need a sequel/sequels. For this one, I'm gonna have to say the Rebel Belle trilogy by Rachel Hawkins. I really talk about how I enjoy Rebel Belle, and I think it's a great book. But after reading the last two books, I realized that I think this should have been a standalone. I totally think that we did not need these two sequels. I felt like if this would have been a little bit longer and it would have come to at a good stopping point, I think this would have been a great standalone because I really did not enjoy these two books. I felt them very unnecessary. I really didn't like the second book, and I really didn't like the third book. They didn't redeem themselves at all, in my opinion, so I think this would have been a great standalone novel, and yeah, I don't know if she felt pressured to write these last two books, but, you know, it just totally didn't need sequels. It really didn't, in my opinion. The next question is totally didn't need to have more than one point of view. This one, I think a lot of people are going to pick this book because I think it's just a given, and that is Allegiant by Veronica Roth. I don't want to spoil anything for this series for you. If you haven't read this book, maybe, you know, not watch until I put this book down because I will spoil it because I'm just going to fair warn you. I think when Veronica Roth announced that For's point of view was going to be introduced in this book, I think we all knew exactly what was going to happen. I know for sure. I know I did. I felt, why do we have the first two books only in Triss's point of view, and this third book we're now getting For's point of view? I felt it kind of weird. All of a sudden is this changing? There has to be a reason for it. Obviously there was a reason for it. So I don't feel like it was necessary. I also feel like a lot of people say that Triss and For's point of view sounds the same, and they do. They really do. You really can't tell back and forth. It's almost like reading the same point of view. There was no really differentiating them, honestly. So the fact that I felt like we didn't need another point of view in this book because the first two books only had Triss's point of view, I was okay with that. If there's another point of view here, we're gonna think something shady, and there was something shady. But you know, yeah, I'm gonna put this down because this book still makes me upset. The next question should be a no-brainer for everybody on this channel, and that is totally didn't need to have a cover change midway through the series. I think you all know what I'm going to talk about because I talk about it constantly, and I'll never be over it. I'll never be over it. And that, of course, is the Across the Universe trilogy. These first two books have beautiful, like, star, galaxy thing, and then we have this third book that completely changed the cover, and it's like this Tarzan jungle thing, which goes with the book, but why make two books like this and make the third one different? Why? That's all I'm going to say. I talk about it constantly. I'm sure you're sick of hearing it. I'm sure sick of talking about it. This question is totally didn't need to have a love triangle. A love triangle is something sometimes I do enjoy, sometimes I don't really enjoy. For this one, I'm going to give you two books because I don't really enjoy the love triangle in either of them. The first one's going to be The Wrath of the Dawn duology by Renee Ahdihi. I really enjoy this duology, do not get me wrong, it's one of my favorites, but I felt the love triangle was very unnecessary. I don't think it even needed to be put in there. It didn't make me upset by any means, but I felt like it was just unnecessarily. I think a lot of people felt the same way, and I didn't even know why we needed that character. That's just my opinion. And the other book I want to talk about is the Ember and the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. This is more like a love square going on up in here, and it is confusing and it is annoying. I do enjoy this series again, but I just don't feel like we need a huge love thing going on. There was like, this person like this person, but I might like this person, I'd be like this person. It's like, what team are you on? Because there could be 4 teams up in there. What team are you on? Why do we have so many teams? I don't know. I felt like this kind of love square is very unnecessary, honestly. Totally didn't need this book to be included in this series, and this is probably the most controversial one because it's a fan favorite. Yeah. And I'm gonna put Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer. I love Twilight. I've told that time and time again. I'm a big fan of Twilight. I read it when it first came out when I was very, very young. I think at the age of 16, 17. I loved it. But I do not like Breaking Dawn. This is probably one of my least favorite books I've ever read in my life. I don't like it. And the fact that I'm saying that it doesn't even be included in this series is saying something, because it is the last book in the series. We definitely need a conclusion, but I felt like my dislike for it is really real. I really like the first 3 books, but this one I'm not a fan of. And you know, it's okay. One of my best friends really loves this book, and whenever we talk about it, we get in this heated debate about it. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're still best friends, and we can respect and understand each other's opinions. How it goes. So if you love this book, totally understand, but I don't like it. I don't feel like it needed to be in there. I really don't. I will take The Wedding. The Wedding was really cute. Other than that, yeah. The next question is totally didn't need a cliffhanger. That one I'm going to say Requiem by Lauren Auber. This is the 3rd and final book in the Delirium trilogy, and it kind of left on a cliffhanger for me, and I don't feel like we needed it because it is the 3rd freaking book. If it was the 2nd book, I wouldn't be upset about it because I would be like, we have one more book. We can finish everything. This book, no. It's the last book. I needed answers, and it left kind of on a cliffhanger. It left on a think what you will. I don't want that. I want to know the definitive ending. That's just how I am. So the next question is totally didn't need to have just one point of view. So this is the opposite. So the other one was totally needed to only have one point of view, and this one says, you know, it needed more point of views. This one's gonna be kind of a random pick for me, but go with it. And that's The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a chick lit book that I just read, and it follows the point of view of Lucy, but I would have loved to see Josh's point of view. I really would have. I thought that would have been great. Like a Lucy Josh point of view, I would have loved it. I think it would have been great as 2 point of views. I'm not hating that, it's only one point of view, but I would have loved if it had 2. Now, I'm gonna just fair warn you, these next 2 questions, I don't have the answers for. I really don't. The next question is totally didn't need that much hype. I don't know. This is such a hard question because a lot of books get hyped up on BookTube, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the times I will read them if they're hyped up. And sometimes that is a good thing, sometimes it's not a bad thing. There hasn't been too many books that I've read that I've been like, wow, this did not deserve any of it. So this one I'm kind of leaving blank because I don't really know. There hasn't been one that has been such a disappointment for me since it was hyped up, so I don't know. Sorry to leave a question blank. The next question is totally didn't need a relative book reference. Example, Hunger Games fans would love Divergent. I would say, you know, any dystopian. Like, I feel like The Maze Runner says, you love Divergent, you love The Maze Runner. I feel like any dystopian, you're probably going to enjoy another dystopian because they're dystopians. You know, I say that because dystopians were really big back in the day. If ever I heard, like, if you love Divergent, you'll love The Maze Runner. If you love Divergent, you'll love The Hunger Games. If you love The Hunger Games, you love Divergent. You know, it goes so on and so forth. So I felt like, you know, those don't need to be really, because I felt like, you know, sometimes if you read one dystopian, you kind of read them all, so they don't need to be like referenced every single time to other books. Maybe I'm alone in that. I'm not sure. And the last question is totally didn't deserve my time. For this one, I'm going to put a book that I read last year that I didn't really like, and that is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. I did not enjoy that. You can watch my most disappointed reads of 2016 and learn more, but it did not deserve my time in my opinion, and it's hard to say, but that's just how I feel. It's really hard for me to say that, but I really, really did not enjoy that book. Anyway, that was the Totally Didn't book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully it wasn't too controversial. Hopefully you still love me because I still love you. And yeah, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.